What is going on, Nation's Corner fam?
What up?
What's up?
I am your host, Tony Justice, and with me, I have a cast of characters with me tonight that you are not going to believe. Of course, I've got, you know, Mongrovian Mike down there. What's going on, Mongrovian Mike?
What's
How you doing? Did you watch that cane, bro?
I hope so.
Did you watch that cane?
Yeah, it's the what the fuck? Oh,
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 No, he put it in his mouth.
no. Oh, man.
Okay.
Oh. All right, dude. We'll
What?
get back to you in a minute. We'll get
I
back to
had
you in
to
a
out
minute.
Tommy Dreamer, didn't I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Full disclosure.
Milk duds, yeah. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, you cover that up. Yeah, sure, it's milk duds.
Let's say
we'll
hi.
get back
Let's
to you.
say. Good. Let's say hi to this man. Go ahead.
Yes, man. For the first time ever on Nation's Corner, we have the one, the only Garza. How are you
What's
doing,
going on,
Garza?
everybody?
Welcome.
Good to be here.
Or as we say in New York, Garza.
Yeah. Dude, I have been after you for a while to get you on. I'm glad you finally got the chance to come on with us, man.
I'm glad to be here.
Hell yeah, man. So what's going on in your world?
Not a whole lot, really. I mean, just work and school, and that's about it.
Hell yeah, man.
Making the occasional meme, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, the Garza isms. Yeah.
Yeah.
That background of yours there looks kind of familiar.
I know.
Yeah, and I'll never forget that May in 2021 when we were all there in Buda, Texas for Mission Pro Locked and Loaded, where Thunder finally got her hands on Dave LaGreca for the first time. That was a heck of a night, man. And Mark Henry, we got to hang out with Mark and Ryan McKinnell. It was so awesome, man.
Yeah, I won't forget the marks on Dave's chest after that match.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh,
She put it to him, man.
Yeah.
She put it to him. So, Garza, glad you're here, brother.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mongrovian, tell us about this whole cane incident. Tell us about your night at ISPW last night.
All right. First of all, we were joking. I was joking before we came on that it looked like Thunder and Dave are ready to bite freaking Garza's neck out, man. They're after you.
They're fighting
man.
over me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Now, anyway, last night was another ISPW show, and as we all know, Dave LaGreca is a manager there. He manages Rick Recon, and believe it or not, he's a face there. Even though I believe he's really a heel, but anyway, Rick Recon faced off against the Great Crowbar and Bull James and Maven, the two pain in the necks that I can't wait till Neil gets his hands on Bull and shuts him up for once and for all. It was a great show, but Bull wound up interrupting the match, and the ref got knocked out. He puts Rick Recon through a door. He blasts Crowbar, puts Rick Recon through the door, and then covers Crowbar because he wants that belt back and he wants to beat Rick Recon. And we had Tommy Dreamer against some international superstar, shining star, whatever. Who cares who he is? The guy cheated, but at least I got my cane was a star in that match. Tommy Dreamer there was a guy called Joe Clean. He came out looking like Mr. Clean, and he handed a bunch of dollar stores brooms to the kids. So the guy got that broom, nutted with that broom, and then Tommy Dreamer came over to me and grabbed that and took care of business. But whatever, what are you going to do? It was still a great night. Loved seeing Tommy Dreamer and all the people there. Shout out to Total with Tom and all the other cool people that we met there. And Tommy Fierro, who will be a guest in the future sometime on this show. He's the promoter. He's also the owner and proprietor of the Wrestling Collector. And I was telling him how pissed off I was because every time we go to an ISPW show, we can't check out the Wrestling Collector because they closed. They closed that day because they're all doing the wrestling. But I digress. That's what I did last night. I drove solo to Jersey. I was dead afterwards, but it was worth it. And Leo Sparrow went up against his tag team partner, GKM, who together they are known as the Birds of the Sun. And and they faced off against each other because GKM is the ISPW state champion. So a shout out to Leo. And I have my evil Leo buddy, and he's salivating. I gotta cook him some bacon. He's gonna have a nice bacon cheeseburger after, right, buddy? Fuck hell, right? Yeah. And that's that. It was a great show. It was a great show, though. And Leo is a great guy. He's a future star. GKM is a future star. Rick Recon is a future star. Bull James is a piece of dirt. And I can't wait till my buddy Neil. Neil, take care of him, damn it.
Yeah, Neil.
Get the Bullet Club, man. You love those guys.
Yeah, he said he can't wait for that moment either. He's salivating over there, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so also tonight we got the Crockett Cup coming up. Anybody that's interested in that's going to be on the Fight Network. And I'm rooting for my girl Julio Del Mar to get her guy, the Thrill Billy, across the line. He's gonna win. He's gonna be the new TV champion. He's gonna beat EC3. He will take him. Is it the TV champion or is it the national?
I am not sure.
He's gonna get whatever belt it is. He's going for because EC3 is a darn no good, dirty, rotten,
darn no
gooder.
Son of a bitch. Hashtag NWA fam. Shout out to my NWA fam out there. Shout out to the Bruder Trio. Miss you guys. Highway Run. Every time I talk about the Bruder Trio, I have to start out singing Faithfully because that's me and Doc's thing. Because me and him shared a story about that same night in Buda. We were there in May. I had to go pick those dudes up at the brewery there because they got stranded there in Dripping Springs. So that was a pretty fun time, man. But shout out to you guys. And also shout out
a good show. That's going to be a good show.
Yeah.
This weekend, it's the Crockett Cup is always good. We'll see who wins it. I believe Ricky Morton and his son are trying to go for it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm rooting for the Thrill Billy for his singles match.
Yeah.
Hey, just to piggyback off what y'all are talking about, like, isn't it interesting how how we first met as far as like a love for wrestling? We had our little group, and then now it's like kind of gotten bigger to where, we're going to these different shows and we're meeting these different people and, talking to different individuals, and it's just growing. It just grows bigger and bigger. And it just, to me, it's pretty awesome. Like I can say I got friends from, from California all the way to, Korea or whatever.
Coast to coast.
It's wild.
And not only that, I think our group is a testament to how we're not the only ones. There's plenty of there. Just be a good fan. It's not just our group. It's be a good fan, be respectful. Like, for instance, I'm standing next to Tommy. He's talking to lovely Ashley and her husband. I'm not going to interrupt their conversation. They're in the middle of a conversation. And I wait, other people might have been, Tom, or whatever. And if you get that feeling, I used to be a fanboy too when I was meeting bands when I was 20 years old, 25. You fanboy out, sometimes you do,
Yeah.
I mean, me and you would fanboy out if we met James Hetfield, and we're north of 50.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, look, they get the
just be good
same.
fans.
Metallica gets the same treatment though, because right now on their tour, the way their stage is set up,
Exactly, and they're all
fans
interacting
are right
with
there.
with the fans right there.
Yes.
Did you see the one thing where James was giving the guys cigars? He was lighting
Yep.
cigars with them and smoking
Yep.
cigars with a couple of the fans wherever they were. It looked like they were in South America somewhere,
Yep.
maybe. I don't know.
See, so and that's one thing I noticed about that video. James, he basically lit the cigar. He lit the cigar, and while he's interacting with that fan, it's like he's tunnel vision on that one fan that he's interacting with. He doesn't let anybody else around distract him. He's interacting with that one fan, and I have noticed the same thing about Tommy Dreamer, Bully Ray, Mark Henry. I've noticed when we've interacted with them, anytime they have interacted with us, it's like we're here with them, right?
And that's just how you interact with celebrity, with all right, some people, they're just wrestlers who do in a gym or something like that. Okay, so what? You know what? These guys, most of them have traveled the friggin' world, and you couldn't take. You'll pull a leg muscle just trying to climb up the damn steel steps into the ring. So,
yeah. Hey, one person I could compare us to, like to another person. I know we're not as big as him, but Chris Van Vliet. Like, look at him. Like, he'll come down and do, a small time like podcast because he doesn't, he doesn't think of himself as bigger than anybody else, but he treats people like people, and then he'll go up and do the famous people, just the same.
Yeah. If you write something to Chris Van Vliet, he'll answer you. just like he would answer The Rock or anybody. From The Rock on down, he treats everyone the same. And I'd like to say that we all do. I know Deb does. Take a page out of watching Chris Van Vliet and just little clips of his interviews and he was on our show as well. And who knows?
Yeah, just the same way he treats people is the same way we treat people. That's why we get that same like you said, tunnel vision. Like we're treating them as a person instead of just as a
and he's a guy that likes to help us. Like he doesn't look down on us and say, "Oh, look at you, idiots. You're just on a YouTube."
Right.
No. He will talk to us and give us advice or whatever. And I feel the same way with Dave too,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But it's a good thing.
It's that saying that Bully always says on Busted Open, respectful fans will get what they want, disrespectful fans get what they deserve. Yeah. And I am very glad that we are all respectful fans in this group. And we cherish every moment, every interaction, every experience we've ever had with any of the wrestlers out there. And we've all treated them like we would want to be treated. And that's basically the bottom line is you treat someone the way you want to be treated. And that's what they appreciate the most. Cause I was at a barbecue joint one time with a buddy of mine in Houston, and Mick Foley walks in, and this was years ago. I interacted with him. I just spoke to him, and I kind of started him a little bit, but I spoke to him, and he spoke back to me, and he went on and got his dinner and sat down at a table kind of in the corner. The table had a globe over it, and he just reached up into the thing and unscrewed the light bulb to where it would turn off. And he wanted to enjoy his meal.
Yeah.
He only sat there for like maybe 5 minutes before these kids that were in the restaurant noticed him. And then they all approached him. And then he came over there with the kids. They were having some sort of birthday party in the restaurant. To Mick's credit, he interacted with every person at that table, every kid. He took a picture. He signed autographs. After he was done at the table, he walked right out of the restaurant. Didn't even go back to finish his food. And I felt so bad for him. But, they just want a moment to themselves sometimes, and they just want to be normal for a little bit. And, but Mick, he interacted with everyone at that table, and I was so impressed with him. And I told him that story when I met him. I got to meet him I think it was in Baltimore for Celeb Fest last year sometime or earlier this year. I can't even remember. But I met him and I got to tell him that story, and he was like, "Well, that was ages ago." And I was like, "Yeah, that was about 99, 2000." And so anyway, Yeah, Mick's a great person, man.
Yeah.
So, but talking about respect, let's talk about some disrespect. Let's talk about some wrestling. Let's talk about the Bloodline from last night. Roman hit 1,000 days last night, and Triple H came out to the ring and called Roman out there, and Roman comes out there with all the pomp and circumstance, and Triple H presented him with a new title. Elder, tell us about this new title, because I was watching SmackDown, but I was in a bar and I couldn't hear what they were saying. All I could do is see it.
I was at ISPW.
Oh, that's right, Garza. Garza, tell us about it. I know you watched it.
Yeah. No, I love the title. I love the way they presented it. It's a little bit not old school, I would say, but a little reminiscent of when The Rock came out and presented his new title like back then. But yeah, I love the way they combined it. Finally got rid of the 2 belts. That way we just have that World Championship and the Universal, and that's it. Because it was just to me it was just a little bit too much. It was like, okay, is he going to lose one of his 2 belts if he wrestles somebody for one of them, or what's going to go on? So
yeah, Garza, sorry to interrupt you, but we've been joined by Mr. Clutch himself, Mr. Stephen Wyan. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, let me talk to you.
Yeah.
I just got a text message, and I was like, he's like, can you got anything going on? I said no, and I was like, yeah, let me jump on with you.
Well, to pull back the curtain a little bit, and we'll get back to you, Garza. Get back to your point. We were supposed to be joined by Marx in New Mexico tonight, but unfortunately, work kept him a little late. He wasn't going to be able to make it. So shout out to Marx out there. We'll get you on at a later date, brother, so don't even worry about it. But Stephen, thanks for joining us, brother. And Garza, back to you.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, I like the fact that they combined them and they don't have the 2 titles separated anymore, because it was just too much. Like I said, if he was going to wrestle, was he going to lose one of them if he lost, or is he going to lose both of them? How is that supposed to work? Whatever. So I'm glad they finally combined it and made it, a nice belt, looking out of it or whatever. So not too flashy, just, it was good.
Right. And then after, I noticed, okay, so clear something up for me. So whenever Triple H presented him with the new title, well, he took his old title off and gave it to Paul, and then he puts the new title on, or holds it up in the air. I've got a picture of it, and I tweeted it out last night. But Paul continued to hold the old titles. Why didn't Triple H take those titles from Paul and take them to the back if he got presented with the new title? If they're presenting this as the one unified title, right?
Yeah.
So why did Paul still continue to hold those titles? I don't know. That confused me.
Yeah. I think it's just to show like, hey, I still have everything. You can't take anything away from me. I still have everything. I still have, both the ones I had. You're not going to take this away from me. And then I'm allowing you to give me something else. So that's what I took it as, is like, you're not going to take these away from me. I'm going to give them here. I'll still have them, and I'll take whatever you gave me. Right.
Okay. That's a good point. So Roman, and then the Usos come out, of course. And this whole thing with the Usos, flashback to Night of Champions when Jimmy Uso super kicked Roman, and then did it again on purpose. And I've always said this, and this is just my opinion. Jay was always the one kind of outspoken and kind of more out there, more than Jimmy. Like Jimmy has always been kind of the reserved one, and I don't know if that's been on purpose.
Yeah.
But that makes it now to where now Jimmy has kind of kicked that door down and been like, you know what? I'm here and it's time for me to shine. And Jimmy has been the one that's been out front in front of Jay. Like Jay's kind of confused. I don't know. He's not totally on board with what Jimmy's doing. From my opinion, y'all might have a different opinion, but I just view Jimmy differently now. I view Jimmy as like Jimmy is the one kind of standing out front of Jay now. Steven, did you watch SmackDown last night?
Yes,
Yeah, give us your take on it.
Especially that ending. I mean, my God. I mean, just great TV last night. I mean, just Jimmy is like he's running the pack, and he's like, hey, follow my lead, and we're going against Roman's, lead and words and stuff, and he's like, man, I should have done, I should have followed your lead, a long time ago. And now Jay's like, what do I do? Do I follow my brother, that I love and trust? Or do I follow the master of this group, Roman, and because, they have always stuck by him and, with the, the bloodline and stuff. And now the bloodline is just crumbling before our eyes and stuff. And so it's rather fascinating to see where this could go, because who knows, maybe Jay will come to terms, and he'll side with Jimmy. Will he join back, with Sikoa and Roman? Who knows?
Yeah. I just highlighted a chat from our show. I wonder who put that in there. Smash that like button. Stop what you're doing and hit that like button on if you enjoy the show. Hit that like button. Come on, yes. Do it.
Yes.
Right.
Hit the like.
Hit the likes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, and of course, with Solo Sikoa, Jimmy telling Jay that he's gonna always feel. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he's always going to protect his brother. And then he pointed at Solo, who was standing on Roman's side at this point, and telling him that that's my brother. I'm going to protect him at all costs. And all Roman's going to do is betray you. When he's done with you, he's going to betray you, and he's going to use you and leave you on the curb.
Yep.
And then Solo walked over to the Usos side, and I jumped up out of my chair. I was like, yes, and everybody around me was like, what the hell? Because they don't watch wrestling. Yeah. But anyway, so Roman was left standing flabbergasted, and then all of a sudden, Solo gives the spike to Jimmy. It all come crashing down, which I had a feeling that was going to happen. And then Roman and Solo and Paul walk out and leave the Usos laying, so to speak. Jay was tending to Jimmy, and they just walk up the ramp. And Roman said something to Solo, didn't he, or Paul? He said something like he was wanting them to go back. I think Paul wanted Solo to go back, and Roman
Paul
like,
said, he said, what about Jay?
Yeah.
He said, Jay will do what he always does. He's going to fall in line. He'll come back to the family.
Okay. Well, that was an interesting turn in the story. Of course, not a champions, that was an awesome moment. And then last night was another, another exclamation point in the story. So I'm just interested to see where this goes, because, we've all been wondering when is the Bloodline storyline has been running rampant in WWE. It's the best story going, and I've said this before, not only in the WWE, but it's the best storyline going on in all of pro wrestling. It's been going on the longest for sure. Yes, there was some, period of time where there was some lulls, but see, you can't have a story that's always going to be hitting high on the high points. You're going on a ride. It's a roller coaster ride. If you're on board the roller coaster, you're going to go up and you're going to come down a little bit, but then eventually you're going to go back up, because the roller coaster ride, it's full of turns and
peaks and valleys
and chills, everything. So and this Bloodline storyline is doing it.
Breathe, learn, getting your breath, breathing, absorbing what's happening. Everything. If it happens all too fast, you miss shit. There's so many layers and twists and turns to this storyline.
Yeah, and there's so much more they can still do with it. It's not, it's nowhere near finished.
I missed it. I missed one show. Look how much stuff I missed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
in that one storyline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So it's amazing. So I'm on board for it, like I've always been. So we'll just continue to continue to check this storyline out and see where it goes. I mean, because it's definitely, like that soap opera, like Days of Our Lives used to be. Yeah, they'd leave you hanging. Remember when Marlena got possessed and all that stuff? I remember watching that stuff growing up because my mom was a big Days of Our Lives mark.
Yeah.
And she'd watch it all the time and tape it. And sometimes I'd get roped into watching it with her. And of course, when Marlena got possessed, I'm like, oh wow. And so when they go off the air and Marlena be doing something outrageous, and then you have to wait till the next episode to see what's going to happen. So that's exactly what this storyline's doing for wrestling fans. So I wanted to touch upon before we got into AEW talk, I wanted to touch upon a show that I know me and Garza are going to be at next weekend, Mission Pro Wrestling's True Colors, June 10th. I am so excited for the show. I know Garza's going to be there. I know Trenda, who's in the chat, is going to be there.
Yeah.
And Neil, who's in the chat also. And Mrs. Front Row are both going to be there, fresh off of their cruise. So cannot wait to see you guys and gals. We're definitely going to have some fun, and we're going to have the rest
Neil
of the crew.
might be the leader of the men's revolution, man.
Hey, yeah.
Yep. You never know.
Yeah. You never know with Neil. Sometimes I got to kind of restrain him. Sometimes he gets a little excited, wants to jump in the ring like that, So I cannot wait to see you guys and gals next weekend. And we're going to have the rest of the crew in our hearts because y'all are going to be there in spirit. Mission Pro's always putting on great shows. So Garza, what are some of the matches you're looking forward to next weekend for Mission Pro Wrestling?
For me, one of them was the JP and Black Swan. I saw her interview earlier today or whatever, and her character, the promo that she did or whatever, just kind of interested me, just as far as one of the indie promos that is out there or whatever. The tag match that's gonna to be in there or whatever. I'm interested to see what they're gonna do to the guys that are in there, because I'm sure at one point they're gonna all game on the other that other team or whatever. So those are my two probably biggest ones. Of course, the main event, Genocide and Jasmine. Jasmine's always a character I've always liked watching her or whatever, just for her stature and size, like what she can do and everything else. She's always been improving and showing out. So yeah.
I know Elder's a big Jasmine Allure fan.
Oh yeah. I was a fan of hers for about 10 seconds. Just as long as she held the belt. That's as long as I was a fan of hers. Genocide's gonna show her that she's never gonna hold that belt, not even for another 10 seconds. She's never gonna get it. Genocide's gonna destroy her. And Tiffany Nieves and Emmy Camacho, I'm looking forward to that because those are two of my favorites. But listen, I have Camacho Madness, but
I think Tiffany takes that one.
You know what? La Princesa is on a trajectory. They both are, and they'll both get there. But this one is going to go. I believe this one is going to go to Tiffany Nieves. She's just got a little bit more of that killer attitude and that attitude because she is the real boss, like I've told her in person. Yeah. She's the real boss, not that other whatever her name is. And of course, Bougie Reality. I'm looking forward to them kicking the crap out of the shitty ref and the AWOL guy. I don't know. Where is he?
Man, I pop big every time she pulls that comb out of the purse.
For his service, but his service is one thing. I commend that, but the shit he pulls in this in Mission Pro is another thing. Him and JP deserve each other, and that shitty ref.
Yeah, man.
Boss lames.
Boss disdains. It's Boss disdains. Hashtag Boss disdains. I'm gonna get that trending next weekend. Boss disdains. Hashtag Boss disdains. And
I'm still in shock when he broke into Emily's house and it disrupted the Mission Pro show.
Yeah, how I mean I don't know. Emily needs to start locking that door.
She's too nice.
Yeah. Shout out to Emily. Cannot wait to see you next weekend as well. I'm looking forward to the Tiffany Emmy match as well. I'm a big Tiffany Nieves fan. She hit me up last time I saw her at the last Mission Pro show that I went to. Want me to maybe be her heel manager. So I'm still available. I'm still available for that, Tiffany. So call me. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys and gals next weekend. And for those that are in San Antonio, get your tickets now. There are still some available. I'm assuming. I haven't talked to Brian lately, but I think there are some available. And if you can't be in San Antonio, watch it on Title Match Network. Saturday, June 10th. I think it's 6 p.m. Central when it comes on. So definitely
and also,
check it out.
on Title Match. Yeah, that's on Title Match, and they're the East Coast CCW on the East Coast is on there, and John just told us the other day that premiering soon will be the CCW Best of CCW Volume 2. So I just want to give a shout out to John because you know what, everybody on this everybody involved with our little show, I think we're all good ambassadors, and we all try to do our best and not to do any, not to what to say, not embarrass, not to put a, to just be good to the wrestlers and treat them with respect. This way they know. When they're asked if they can come on our little show, they respond very very nicely to us. And
right.
And the ones that have been on our show blindly, no offense, they've enjoyed it. So
and what I tell people, like every time I talk to them about Mission Pro, I tell them if you've been to a big event, you've been to a big event, but I suggest that you go to a show like this, especially like
independent shows.
I was like, because they're more personable. You get to actually like talk to the individual. Get to know them a little bit more, and sometimes they'll sit there and talk to you about what they've been doing as far as like traveling or whatever else they've been doing. So I always promote those little indie shows because to me I like them better because, like I said, I'm right there, right there up front, and then just they're more personable to me than
you know what when you meet one of these great talents that impress you, and you pay $10, you get a photograph, you get a signed photo. Usually $20 to $25 is for a T-shirt of them, and they're getting the whole $25 as opposed to other places where they only make a percentage. And that's not just one site, that's anywhere online. You only make a percentage wherever you sell those shirts. So always support the talent, and you never know. You know what? You pay $10 for that 8x10 autograph, and 3 years from now, you imagine that, paying $10 for an MJF freaking autograph probably 2-3 years ago, and now, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of my biggest ones that I like recently was Zoe Stark.
You paid $500 to do a promo on him.
Like Zoe Starks, I met her at Mission Pro before she got big. Like right before she went up, and look where she's at now or whatever. So
that's it. Hey, I regret. You know who? Austin Theory. I was at a bar. I was already broke. He's out there selling $20 shirts and pictures, autographs, and now where are you gonna meet him? You have to go to WrestleMania week.
Yeah, Trenda says it best. Support independent wrestling. That's where it's at.
That's right, Trenda.
Yep. Another thing too.
Right.
Front Row joined us, and he put out the website there for missionprowrestling.com. Thanks, Front Row. Fresh off of his cruise. missionprowrestling.com for tickets for those that cannot be or that can be in San Antonio. It's going to be a great show. Cannot wait for it. I think I'm going to be getting. I think me and Garza are going to be getting there on Friday, and then others are going to be getting there on Thursday, and then Saturday's the show. I have to step away Saturday morning to go to a memorial service. Someone in my family passed away, my brother-in-law's family rather, but we're so close. It's like my family too. So,
Sorry.
going to a memorial service for him, and then coming back to San Antonio in the afternoon and be there for the show. So yeah, let's go.
Show's going to be another banger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Brian and the gang have never put on anything less than a banger of a show.
No.
So
Nope.
I mean, always a good mix of talent that get in somebody special, and hey, don't forget we're gonna have our very own Izzy, the Busted Open Nation's own Izzy is gonna be commentating.
Yeah.
On
that's
show
right.
too.
Yep.
Cannot wait to see Izzy. She is definitely, she is motivated.
She's a heel,
she
don't
is
forget,
ready to
man.
go. Yeah.
She's a bully Ray favorite, so she's a heel. There's a heel in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Yeah,
Watch
I say
out,
for
everyone.
any young talent or any young person that's interested in pro wrestling period that wants to get into it, the model that Izzy is setting right now, that's the one you want to follow. Like that dedication and that discipline that she has or whatever, that's what you want to follow, and that's what you want to get through. Because I've never, at that young age, I wasn't interested. I was interested in wrestling, but not anything, as far as what she's getting into and what she's doing it as or whatever.
Hey,
she's doing it the
look
right
at
way.
Billy. Look at Billy Starks. Look at Roxanne Perez.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so young and Roxanne Perez was 21, and she won the ROH, the Ring of Honor, women's championship. I mean that's not. They're not going to put a belt on someone just for nothing. That's amazing that the young and also I might add, they're all super freaking smart. I mean, Billy Starks is multilingual.
Yep.
She's Izzy's graduating ahead of time. They're all very super smart.
Yeah.
So they're not only just in the ring, kicking ass in the ring. They're kicking ass in life all around. Yep. They are kicking ass, taking names, and stepping over whoever.
Yeah. Speaking of young, Mission Pros, Emmy Camacho, she's young herself, and she's doing great things in Mission Pro. So, I mean, if you've got your head on straight, Jade, you got your head on straight, learning, the craft at that young of an age, the only way to go is up, be big stars soon. So keep your eye on all that talent.
Oh, yeah.
And another thing to keep your eye on, thank you, RA, she's 19. See her next weekend with wrestling Tiffany Nieves. Cannot wait for that. Speaking of something to keep your eye on, I'm going to switch some gears here, like I'm good at, and talk about some AEW Collision. The announcement was made that AEW's got AEW Collision coming on in June. I think it's June 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
17th.
17th. Thank you, Stephen. And it was announced on Dynamite this past Wednesday that one CM Punk is going to be on AEW Collision on June 17th. And it just so happens they're in Chicago again. Shocker. Yeah. So just from that announcement alone, people could assume that CM Punk was going to be there, but then they come out last Wednesday and said it. And I will admit, whenever it was announced on Dynamite, I had a hissy. I sent out a tweet, saying, why would they give away that surprise? It's like telling a kid what they're getting for Christmas before they open their Christmas presents. I said that on Twitter, and I got a DM from Tommy Dreamer a little while after I tweeted that out, and he told me that they needed to sell tickets.
Yep.
And once he told me that, shout out to Tommy Dreamer. Once he told me that, I stopped and I was like, you know what? They're right. He's right. That they need to sell tickets, plus they need that rating, because without CM Punk, and they discussed it on Busted Open at length. Go back on the SiriusXM app to check it out if you missed it. But they had a good discussion about CM Punk on Thursday's show. They have, ever since CM Punk has been off TV for whatever reason, whether it be he was injured or whether he was off for punishment for what happened at the Scrum, at All Out, whatever. Ever since he's been missing from TV, AEW's ratings and AEW, it's just been, not very good. And Garza, we were talking earlier about something about AEW, and I want you to expound on that. Yeah, go ahead and let everybody in on what we were talking about.
Yeah, for me, it's the storylines really. They kind of rush stuff a little bit too much, just for me, just in my opinion, so they rush it, kind of like this, Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite. Okay, I think they could have, kind of dragged it out a little bit more instead of just, now you got the crash and burn match, and now the Elite got beat, and then they're just building momentum. I think they could have taken a page out of the WWE book, just as far as like storyline wise, as far as consistency, because sometimes you're watching and you're like, okay, this person's wrestling this person, and they're feuding, and then like maybe 2 weeks later it's like they're separated, and then they're off to somebody else, and you're like, okay, but why? Why did it move from here to here? It doesn't make any sense to me. I know they, like you said, they need CM Punk for those ratings, but they really shouldn't. If they kept up with their storylines a little bit more consistently, they wouldn't need just that one star to hit the big rating. If they, do a couple of different storylines there that people are just going to be set and interested in, I think they'd keep those ratings up, because the wrestling's good. I mean, the wrestling that's there, it's good. The performers are awesome or whatever. So there's nothing wrong with the performers. It's just the storyline wise. And for instance, just like at the pay-per-view, why take the belt off of Jade, right after the match instead of waiting? You could have built up, Statlander and a little bit more, but instead they're like, hey, we want it now, and we're going to do it now. And then that's it. So now it's like, okay, this is a perfect example for, why they didn't put it on Cody at WrestleMania. Because if you're just going to give it to him now, where are they going to go with it? Like, where's she going to go? Who's she's going to wrestle? I mean, what are they going to do with her or whatever? So if they stayed a little bit more consistent, I guess, with storylines, I think that rating might, it might not be as big, but it'll stay up there. Or whatever.
So Garza, you're happy that Statlander won the belt, but it's just the way that she wanted it. It should have been. You think she should have came out, whatever, punch Jade out or whatever, and said, I challenge you this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, for that.
Well, I think what should have happened is, as soon as she got challenged,
not even touch Jade.
Mark should have came in the ring and then got in between, and then he should have got knocked out, and then Jade should have went to the back, and then that would have built more heat
Wednesday, for the next night. Make it for Dynamite. And give something for the people.
Or not even for Dynamite. Maybe save it for a little bit later down the road. Again, this is what they do all the time. It's like, okay, we're gonna bring somebody in, and then next week they're gonna wrestle, and they're gonna get beat or whatever. So I mean, injury wise, I can understand that part. But if there's not an injury in there, then kind of let it build, kind of let it breathe or whatever, and just draw it out. To me, that's more exciting. To me, like, oh man, I thought she was gonna win this time, but she didn't. But she's still they're still building it.
Yeah. I'm hoping they tell a good story with Jade. Now that she lost that belt, I hope she's going to go. I hope Jade Cargill goes for the big, for the heavyweight, for the championship belt, and not the TV championship. And I want and build a story for there, and damn it, give her a little bit of it. We know she's superhuman and stuff.
So this is the other thing, is like, they have the new show on Saturdays. What belt are they going to have on Saturdays? Are they going to make a new one, or are they going to have just the TNT, the world, Women's World Championship on there, or they're going to keep the TBS on the other channel? I mean,
I have
how are they
no
going to
idea
work
what
that
they're
out?
gonna
So if
do,
you put
but-
Jade on there, it's like, okay, well, what's she going to be wrestling for? What's she building towards or whatever?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
And Steven, what's your thoughts, man?
So as far as this whole thing with Punk, like, look, I know there's a lot of diehard Punk fans that miss Punk and love Punk, and don't get me wrong, Punk had some great moments while he was there, but did he really move the needle? Honestly, he didn't. I mean, sure, he's a big name, but he really didn't move the needle at all. I mean, he moved it a little bit, but not to what AEW was expecting. And honestly, I don't think this is going to work in the long run. The only way this can work is if they all come together and they talk things out and all that stuff. But Punk has had a history of pulling, his shenanigans, where if he doesn't like something and he's very boisterous and when you're very opinionated, it can bite you in the ass. And I honestly, truthfully think I mean, maybe I'm proven wrong, but I don't think it's going to work because his attitude has gotten in the way of him, the way he's carried himself in public, and whether he said was correct or not. Like even if it was correct, what he said in September, even if it was, that's still not the place to air your dirty laundry.
Yeah,
Right.
The show is starting off actually highlighting a whole bunch of talent that we all miss and haven't seen in a while. There's Andrade, there's Miro, there's Thunder, of course. Now CM Punk. Who else are we going to see there that are super popular? But
maybe Lance Archer.
Yeah, and I think Chad's right too with the Punk move the needle. I think Punk did move the needle. Maybe he didn't move it that much, but he was the only one that was keeping them over 1 million, and now they're under 1 million all the time. But I don't even care about that.
I understand where people will go, oh well, maybe the storylines will be better. Well, honestly, if they were so focused on their roster while he was gone, you still could have had great storylines being built to these pay-per-views, because let's be honest, these last couple of pay-per-view builds have been very lackluster. Now, fortunately, Full Gear and Revolution were great, but Double or Nothing was just such a mixed bag. Like there was some good, there was some bad, and there was some downright ugly. I mean, it was not a great show, but
you know what? We had a great week. That was a great weekend of shows, and it was an overload of shows. So it wasn't like, this weekend sucked because that pay-per-view wasn't that great. It was an all right pay-per-view but it had to stand up to Night of Champions, which was that, Night of Champions. The night before you had Impact. You had what is it? Hard to Kill?
Under Siege.
Under Siege 2?
Yep,
Yeah.
Under Siege 2, yep.
Yeah.
Hard to Kill.
I want to jump on what Chad and Neil both talked about Punk moving the needle as far as financially for AEW.
Yeah.
And they're right that they had some $1 million gates with Punk on the card. As far as the storylines with Punk, like Garza was saying earlier, about storylines in general, some of those could have been better. I can talk about a highlight with Punk and MJF, that dog collar match. That was
also
an amazing
the promo by MJF and Punk in 2021 in Chicago in November of 21, when they both went back and forth for 20 minutes, just talking shit to each other and stuff, and just that was great, But I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll see if they can make amends, if cooler heads can prevail, if him and the Elite can get along.
Yeah,
I mean, because
to me, the Punk situation is not really a Punk problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in WWE, like people like to bring WWE, when he was there and the pipe bomb and all this other stuff, but they don't realize most of that was probably talked about and scripted ahead of time. So that was just made for you to think that he was going outside the box and going into business for himself. This time, in this company right here, what I've noticed with, not just him, with other individuals or whatever, they'll put out whatever they want to, either on social media, they'll talk bad about each other or whatever. Not even wrestling wise, just talking bad about each other or talking how disgruntled they are or whatever.
Yeah.
So for me, it's got to start at the top, and when they bring him in, they've got to let him know, like, hey, what happened the last time cannot happen again. You can still have your grievances and everything else, and you can still have your issues. Bring them to me, and then we'll discuss them in the back or whatever. But do not do that ever again, because just after this last pay-per-view, if you watched MJF out there and you saw Tony Khan's face during that interview, he couldn't stop him. He's got to find a way to put his foot down and be like, I'm the boss, and if you don't like it, then I'll have you sit at home. Just the way any other company would do is like, hey, if you don't like what we're doing here, that's fine. You're still under contract. I'll sit you at home. We'll take that strap off of you and we'll put it on somebody else. And you can say whatever you want to, but we're going to move on without you if you don't like what we're doing here. And without him doing that first, it's just going to continue. And then Eric Bischoff said it best, because he was always saying, hey, I'm not going to make the same mistakes WCW did. I'm going to be better. And Eric said, you're making some of the same mistakes that we made, way back when. So you've got to realize that or whatever. So
one point
he
I want to
got
hit
his
on.
backup on that too. Sorry, Tony. He got his backup on those comments that Eric Bischoff made.
Yeah.
He needs to stop being a friend and stop being, hey, I want to hang out with all these wrestlers. Be their boss and put out a product that everybody can follow and love. Now they've been doing some stories good, but some of them are just a little too rushed. I could do without the 45 tag team battle royals and crap like that. And I don't need that. I don't need that stuff.
Right. So one thing I wanted to say, we're coming up on the top of the hour. But one thing I wanted to say is that we're talking about Punk. We're talking about him moving the needle financially. Well, now that they've made the announcement that he's going to be on AEW Collision, June 17th, AEW All In, which they are still selling tickets for, and I think they're up to 70,000 tickets sold. I haven't looked at the number. If someone has, please put it in the chat. Now CM Punk's been announced. Now he's back. So I think they are going to sell out or to stand a good chance of selling out that whole Wembley Arena now. The thing is,
who's going to be who's he going to go against? That's
right. But see, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Nothing has been announced. No match has been announced at all. This is going off of AEW's stature alone.
What do you think about a program with Claudio?
You know what? I had something that popped in my head as soon as they announced his return. What if his first match, save it for All In, Samoa Joe?
Yeah. That would be a good match.
Or you could do Bryan Danielson. Either one. I'm cool.
Well, another person that, could be a big factor at All In, hopefully, if she's able to return by that time, is Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker in London. They haven't built that match at all. I'm not putting anything out there. I don't know anything.
No, that's a dream. That's
just something that we would love to see. I know I would. I would love to see another chapter in the Britt Thunder saga, and doing it abroad, doing it in London. That would be amazing.
Are they making an action figure series over anything else that Britt has done? No, it's a fight with Thunder Rosa, the blood and guts fight. That's all people think about.
Yeah. For me, I hope they bring Thunder back as a heel.
Of course, it hasn't been resolved.
Yeah.
Thunder had to relinquish the belt, and of course, Tony made her do it in a shitty way. I don't give a crap.
I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you did. It was your fault. You touched that belt. I saw the picture.
Yeah.
You jinxed it.
Yeah, me and Front Row got to take selfies with that belt.
Tony, cut this shit.
Yeah, that was a great night. Me and Front Row and Mrs. Front Row got to be there in the house when she won that championship, so it hurt. It stung a little too.
Yeah.
For her to have to relinquish that belt.
And the way she was treated as a champion.
The way, yeah, she never even got to. Let's just be honest. She wasn't given the respect she deserved when she was the champion.
No.
So I think, and Garza, to your point, that's just more of a reason for her to come back as a heel.
Yeah. Yeah, I know she would be an awesome heel. I know she would. Just that savagery, just that I'm going to come out and I'm going to do whatever I want to you. Yeah.
Get that good old NWA heel Thunder.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. She was
get that Thunder heat when Dave pisses her the fuck off.
Yeah.
Yeah. They better not have no pallets of beer cans anywhere around because
hey, maybe they should add a female member to the BCC.
Hey, I was thinking, what if Don Callis adds her to his stable?
Yeah,
I was thinking about that the other day because Don Callis is talking about bringing more members to his family, announcing more members. So he's got Takeshita now. I think Thunder could come back and be just an asset to Don Callis.
Yeah.
I think the BCC, yeah, I could see that happening too. But we'll see. I mean, we have to get Thunder back. I know she's doing commentary right now for AEW, the Spanish commentary. I'm just ready to see her back on my TV.
Yeah.
And
I know Thunder holds like a little bit of a special place for me or whatever, because during like the whole pandemic thing, nobody was going out to wrestling or whatever. The first wrestling event I went to was the Mission Pro event.
Yep.
And as soon as we walked up, she was shaking hands and giving hugs like if we knew each other for like years. Yep. Talking to us and then treated us just like we were, like I said, we were friends for years or whatever. So every time we went, it'd be the same thing. We'd sit down with her, chat, for however long she had or whatever. So to me, I respect her more for that because, like I said, she just showed a lot of heart and then just showed a lot of, how much she appreciates the fans or whatever, especially during a time like that or whatever. So
right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. She definitely, she's definitely got to shine during the pandemic. Mission Pro in general shined during the pandemic. I know that we watched many a Mission Pro show together on Zoom during the pandemic on Title Match Network. So, that's why Mission Pro holds a special place in my heart, and I know all of our hearts, because it's kind of like we bonded over wrestling, but we bonded over Mission Pro the most, and we got to, and in our first time meeting in person was the Buta show in May of 21. That's when I met Front Row for the first time in person, and you, Garza. So yeah, I mean it. It
had its ups and downs. It had its ups and downs.
And also
you met
Scotty
Garza,
was there as well.
which is great, but then you had to meet Front Row, which is meh. He's mid. He may be in the front row, but he's mid.
Man, I'm gonna go on a personal note before we end the show. I miss Buta. I know they're doing shows in San Antonio at Salvation Army. I know that. I know that's a great venue. No disrespect to the Salvation Army. I love it. But I mean that Buta holds a special place in my heart, not only for that place that they had the venue, the venue, but that Mavericks dance hall across the way. Oh man, I miss that place. Yeah, I miss that place.
Plus the chance that someone would get one of the commentators that get their head chopped off with someone throwing the axes that they would never stop. They still let them throw the axes.
Yeah. So anyway, you
don't mess around Holly. I mean, why do they have axe throwing like 5 feet away from Holly? Then I mean, if that isn't a recipe for like a disaster and something very bad to happen. Not for Holly then, but for whoever fucks around and finds out from up.
Right. Yeah. Hey, they got an axe throwing place up here in Minnesota, like up here in Monticello, which is about 15 minutes away. They got an axe throwing place over there.
I want Stone Cold to be my partner.
So Steven, we're so glad you could join us tonight, man. I know I call you Clutch. That's my affectionate term for you, is Clutch. Tell us about your show coming up on Tuesday, Our Nation Sports Show. Who you got coming on this next episode?
So we got our boy in the production, for the Nation's Corner and the sports show, Hijacker Mike, coming on this Tuesday with some of his boys going to the Oakland Athletics game. And basically, for those that don't know, and Mike has been killing it on social media.
Oh yeah,
with his anti, move the A's to Vegas campaign. Sell the franchise to somebody here to there in San Francisco or somewhere in California, just to keep the team in California, because there's no way, and I don't blame the bro, for wanting to go through the agony of losing 3 teams in less than 10 years to another state, or especially out of the city.
Steven, who are the owners?
I believe his name is John Fisher.
Yeah.
Does this mofo want to run into HJM?
I don't think so, because you know what? If you piss him off,
does he know what HJM was going to do to a dude that just took $10 from him?
I was getting ready to say that, because if the owners in the Oakland Athletics see HJM in person, they're gonna be like, "Oh, we done
big mistake,
big mistake."
I have seen HJM in person. I have seen the evil side of HJM. Me and him were trying to hunt that guy down that stole that money from us that night in the parking garage, that parking area in Austin, Texas. I have seen it.
When he's got, I've seen pictures of him where he's happy and he looks like he's ready to cut a motherfucker. I don't know. Watch out for him.
Yeah,
he's our brother, man. He loves us, man. He don't love you, dude. Sell that fucking team. Sell it.
Yep. So y'all check out Our Nation Sports Show on Tuesday. Steven, is that 6 Central, 7 Eastern?
You would be correct. Yes, sir.
Yep. So y'all going out there and check out that show that Steven worked so hard on. Steven and Ezra, and couple of
Steven works hard. Steven works hard.
Ezra, when he get there?
Ezra just shows up there.
Yeah. So anyway, Clutch, thanks for joining us tonight. Steven, how can people reach you on the socials?
You can follow me on Twitter at follow us on Twitter for the sports show at ON_sports show. And you can follow me on Twitter at Steven_Wind, where I post about wrestling, music, and so much more. And looking forward to having Mike on the show this Tuesday. And he posted on Twitter today that Fisher's crime, it's considered a crime, by the columnists. Like, he has been posting about this for weeks, and it's going to be so cool to hear him and his boys down there in Oakland, talking about this stuff, because this is a hot button topic among Oakland A's fans. So looking forward to it.
Awesome. Can't wait.
And no, it ain't going to be another. It isn't another forest firing in Cali over there. It's HJM and his cigar crew lighting up cigars and blowing right in that son of a bitch's face. Sell that team.
Garza, I'm so happy that we got you to come on tonight, man.
Oh yeah.
You're welcome back anytime. Anytime you're available, man. We'd love to have you on.
Yeah, I'd love to come back anytime.
Hell yeah, man. I will keep you informed. So how can people find you on the socials?
On my Twitter page at Garza_Rodney. So posting the occasional wrestling, opinion, or the occasional gizm on there for the, Busted Open radio show. So just follow me there.
Heck yeah, man. We love your gizms, by the way, man. You come up with some unique ones. Just to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. Garza is one of the OG originals. Garza, before this group was together, Garza was one of the core people that everybody knew through Twitter and listened to the Busted Open show. And we found that's how I found Garza and Chris from Baltimore. And then eventually you guys and everyone else. But like Front Row and Garza and Joe from North Carolina and all these people, that's how we met. We heard them on the show calling, heard them saying, "Oh, Garza, get on there. Who's this guy Garza?" And then go to media and see these weird pictures, man, with the fat head.
Yeah.
Such great stuff, man. And Scott, I'll also, of course, shout out to Scotty from Long Island.
Yeah.
The hardest
one of
working
the
man
originals.
in New York, for real.
Yeah.
Awesome
Yeah,
crew.
yeah, he those fat heads that he came out with, man, that's become a staple in the Busted Open Nation.
Oh yeah.
I love looking for the fat heads at all the live wrestling shows and
Yeah.
televised.
Well, this is one of
shows on
his, this is
TV.
one of his creations right here too. So.
Yep.
I also gave the New Jersey with the Skid Row logo, Busted Open with the Skid Row logo. I gave that to Dave last night. Thank God that idiot wrestler that nutted Tommy didn't rip it in half because he was starting shit with it. But oh well.
Well, Mongrovian, how can people find you on the socials, man?
At Mongrovian Mike, right there.
Right.
Right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. At Mongrovian Mike. There you go.
At Mongrovian Mike.
Yeah. And speaking of ats, if you happen to be wanting to look for Mr. Tony Justice, well, you can find me at Tony Justice, AJFA. And if you're a Metallica fan, like I know all of us are, you know what that means. Ooh. All right, man. I appreciate everyone from joining us in the chat, and we will catch you all on the.
I love all yous except for Chad.
Later.